This video is sponsored by Empire Fantasy Football League, one of the world's biggest fantasy football games where millions of people play fantasy football a year. Here is a brand new way of getting involved with a game that brings millions of people, including myself, to fantasy football and the game that we love. Pick your fantasy team with the salary cap that you are given, and throughout the season, you'll compete against people worldwide, and you can even track how you're doing against your friends as well. You can buy and sell players throughout the season as well. And the price matches how they're actually doing on the field throughout that season. You can also earn money to spend on your team by wagering within the season as well. And the best part of it is it's free, and it's free all year. So sign up and make sure you go to www.empireff.com to start today to go and play one of the best brand new fantasy football games out there provided by Empire Fantasy Football League. Go and enjoy it and have a great rest of your NFL season. And once again, it is www.empireff.com. Hello and welcome back to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie Hall. We're back for another predictions episode. We did the NFC predictions episode the other day. We're now doing the AFC version tonight. You do notice that obviously my co-host here, Adam Martin, is back with me to talk the AFC side of things. Ash, unfortunately, won't be with us this evening as after she chats about her NFC side of things. However, obviously, her being a Green Bay Packers fan, she has more of an NFC link anyway, doesn't she, Adam? But we go into the AFC now.
We couldn't let her back after that Atlanta take of 14-3. So I think it's only right and proper she takes some time off. Bless her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was some edgy picks from Ash, from me, and from you, I suppose, in that episode. However, yeah, only days away now, only a week away really now till the NFL season starts. With that Thursday night game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys going to the Buccaneers, obviously. Very exciting times. The ball's rolling with the NFL season. Lots happening in the NFL. A few things happening today with trades and players going to different teams and stuff like that who are on the reserve teams or practice squad and stuff like that. So lots of info coming out in the NFL. Adam, buzzing for next week to get going, really.
Yeah, no, it should be good. And, you know, like I said before, I mean, it's going to be great to see the crowds in there. It's going to be great to see some action. I mean, for the last few weeks, it's kind of been like the preseason stuff, which is, you know, it's nice to see just because we want to see something, but at the same time, we all know it's not really the real thing. So, yeah, it should be good, and looking forward to it.
I've been really bad this year with the preseason. Every year I tend to watch it quite a bit because I just want to watch football. And this year I've just been like, you know what, like, I watched it in so much detail last year, and I analysed a lot of players and really put a lot of stock in a lot of players that just never were anywhere in the season. So I was like, well, actually, I'm not going to like emulsify myself that much in preseason because it matters more what happens in the season. Obviously, these players will develop, and some players that are getting a lot of reps here in preseason will get more time in the season, maybe. Or maybe move on. I don't know. These sort of things happen. There was lots of players I watched in preseason last year I really liked, and they weren't at the team. At the start of the season.
It happens a lot, doesn't it? I mean, like we've been watching Hard Knocks, and you know they've been going on about Ben DiNucci, who's just been cut. So it's like, you know,
spoiler alert for Hard Knocks in a couple of weeks, just for people.
But yeah, I mean, it's like it happens. It happens all the time, and you see them. And I can't remember. There was another one on there. They were talking about their running back. I think is it someone Hardy at Dallas or something like that. And he's like the third or fourth string, and they seem to be following him. And it's like he's never going to get past Zeke. It's just not going to happen. So it is bizarre.
But this is why we enjoy football, because of all these crazy things that happen, and getting the more knowledge, and the more knowledge we get, the more we get ourselves into the sport. But we better go on with the predictions. So I think NFC predictions was very interesting. Admittedly, we started that episode thinking we were going to get through the whole predictions, and it's all we looked at time when we're going to be going on for ages because there is so much detail to say in these divisions. And so that was the NFC one. Now we're doing the AFC one. We are going to do our road to the Super Bowl as well. I think me and Adam will do that. But we're going to start with the AFC North. My team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, my division, so we can get like my emotional bit out the way, I suppose. we did with the NFC North with you and Ash with the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to let you take it away for this one because I feel like I will get too passionate about it, and you know I might influence your picks, I might influence your scores if you feel about what I've
done. So yeah, I think when it comes to the AFC North, I mean, personally, I think the Steelers, they had a great run at the beginning of last season. You've had a lot of changes there. There's that O-line is a massive issue, and the chances of Big Ben staying upright throughout the whole thing is a bit worrying, I would have thought. So I can't see them taking it again. For me, really, it feels like the Browns and the Ravens are very similar at the moment. They've both got great run games. They've both got quarterbacks that are decent in their own way. And also, I think that they've both got really, really good, solid defenses that are going to make a big difference to them. I like the Browns this year. I really do. I think that Andrew Berry there has made, as the general manager, has made a massive improvement just in the short time that he's been there. To me, it feels like they're actually picking players that they need rather than just picking players for the sake of picking them. That was the one thing that I feel like in the last 2 years has changed with the Browns, and they had a really good free agency, had a really good draft as well. And I think that they're probably going to win it, but I do think it'll be very close between them and the Ravens. So I've got the Browns at 13-4, Ravens 12-5. The Steelers, unfortunately, I've got you as a losing record there, Fred, at 8-9. So, but it wouldn't surprise me. The Steelers have kind of got a schedule that feels very. They could go 11-6. They could go even worse than what I've said and go like 7 or 8, 7 or 6 even. It's one of them things where there's a lot of tight games, I think, for the Steelers this year. And then with the Bengals, I just feel like they haven't focused on the thing that they needed to. They needed to improve that O-line significantly to help Joe Burrow. And as great as Jamar Chase looked in college, he's looked a bit ropey when in the preseason games. I think they'll just get outplayed by many of the teams. So I've just got them as 4-13, pretty much doing the same as what they did last year. And hopefully for them, Burrow can stay up. But yeah, I've gone for the Browns. So don't cry on me.
Well, I am not going to cry on you because I completely agree. That division is a 2-horse race this year, and it is between the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. I completely agree with whatever. If the Cleveland Browns were not called the Cleveland Browns on paper, they would be my favorite team in football outside of Baker Mayfield. I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan, but they'd be my favorite team in football because of the moves they made this year that have been me and Josh on the Future of the Franchise episode talking about Greg Newsome second. The cornerback they drafted in the first round. Go and check that out. That's all on YouTube and on our social media. Really good video with Josh over from full 10 yards. His key thing he said that I instantly grabbed was we're making smart moves. We're making educated moves, and we're not being silly. We're not doing stupid things. Like we're not chancing anything. And you're right, with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, that organization just completely flipped on its head. I made a joke with him, but it must have been a bit crazy for him looking at Greg Newsome pick and thinking, "Wow, we're not got a pick inside the top 10." It must have been because we talked about who you were trying to grab and everything like that. It's Browns division win for me, 13-4. I think they are that good. There's a few tiny pieces. It's more about keeping the guys fit on the field for me. For them, if they kept everyone fit on the field throughout the whole season, that they are going to have a tremendous year and a great playoff run as well. The Ravens, I take Browns defense over Ravens just by a smidge, and I've got them at 11-6, partly because, and again, you say about Cleveland and Baltimore being a very similar team. The difference is Gus Edwards is now going to be their lead runner this year instead of J.K. Dobbins. Yes, Lamar Jackson's going to do probably a lot more running. And I don't dislike Gus Edwards at all. Gus the Bus is a very good running back. But wide receiver-wise, Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgins, Odell Beckham Jr., Austin Hooper, Harrison Bryant was really good as tight end. David Njoku, we always forget about him as well. They are a lot better compared to what they've got over in Baltimore. Marquise Brown, we're still not sure. Rashad Bateman, we have a lot of high hopes for. Mark Andrews, obviously a top tight end. But there's not much there on that wide receiver, sort of down the field players there, not as skilled as the guys in Cleveland. So that's where I think they are very similar teams in that style, I suppose. But that's what draws them away. You've been kinder to my Steelers than I have. I've gone 7-10. I think the Steelers could go 5 wins or 11 wins. I think it's that broad. I think there is so many 50-50 games, like Chicago is one of them. I can't think off the top of my head other games now, but I don't have us doing very well in the division. I think we could lose to Cleveland twice. We could lose to the Ravens twice very easily. And I think Cincinnati could go either way at times. I think they're a couple of snatch games there. I really do. And Cincinnati, I think next year could really be their year to maybe push a little bit if Big Ben retires and stuff like that. I've got them at 5-12. Again, I think we forget about Joe Burrow. He didn't play the whole of last year. He played, 4 games last year? He's still not really integrated in this team and integrated into the NFL. This is not like a rookie. He's almost playing his rookie year again this year. And he's got a rookie wide receiver, Jamar Chase, who you say, I, again, haven't watched much from him in preseason, but by your accounts, has not been that impressive. And there has been some strange moves by them. They've paid people like Trey Hendrickson, which I'm not too sure about. I don't think they've made that. I feel like I'm very jealous of things like they took Mike Hilton away from his slot corner. I think that was a massive pickup for them. But again, they've not addressed their O-line. I think they're still finding their feet. Are we sure Zach Taylor's the guy at head coach? I don't know. They're still finding their feet. They could be a veteran coach away from being a good push and some good moves in the offseason as well. But losing Joe Burrow last year is actually really completely flipped the script for them, where this year they'd maybe be looking at that playoff run maybe of having Joe Burrow the whole last year. They're really starting from scratch again with Burrow in a way, even though he is going to have more of the preseason this year.
Yeah, I think with Cincinnati, I mean, the one thing with them that a lot of people, need to remember is that although they've been a poor team for a few years now, they do actually have some really good players there. I mean, like I say, Chase, he hasn't been great in preseason, but it is preseason, so who knows? But at college, he was the standout, really, wide receiver. Everyone was talking about him. You've got T. Higgins, looked great last year. You've got Tyler Boyd, another solid wide receiver. You've got a great running back in Joe Mixon if he can stay fit,
which stays on the field.
Yeah, hopefully he will. So you've got a great running back in that. So they do kind of have the pieces around Burrow, and like you say, Burrow didn't really play that many games last year, so you would hope that he would be able to kind of do a bit more this year and improve. But I think it will take time. I'm not really sold on Zach Taylor. I don't think he's that great as a head coach. And like you say, maybe if they could get, it's almost like what Washington did. They brought in Ron Rivera, and look at what it did. And it brought in a bit of a culture there that changed it. And that's the sort of thing that I think they need to do there. But I think it's going to take them some time. But yeah, for me, I just think the Browns look really, really good this year.
They are a hot ticket. And we've got to remember, Joe Burrow did look good in them games as well, but he did play. I'm not deterring that. It is still that step up. Let's move on to the NFC South of things. So a division that has maybe one of the worst teams in football in it. A very out there with Deshaun Watson and everything like that. And the Houston Texans really don't know what's going on there. I'm going to start off with this one. Last year, I said the Tennessee Titans would drop off a lot. And they really, really showed me that they are not dropping off. I thought they would be found out. I thought that the Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry thing, AJ Brown thing had been found out. If they can't, they'll smash it up the field. And when they can't, AJ Brown's the go-to guy. They proved me really wrong last year, and they're really good. My only worry is that their defense, I feel, hasn't strengthened. But I've got them at 14-3, which I know is a bit. I actually think that's a bloated record now looking at it. But I can't be burnt again by that. I do think they are that good. People haven't got a solution for Derrick Henry. I'm sorry they haven't. And Ryan Tannehill has shown that he's a real capable quarterback, Allen with his feet. And they've brought in Julio Jones as well as that second wide. Well, really the first wide receiver, and AJ Brown being the second one. So they got way better on the receiver range there. It's their defense that worries me a little. Brought in people like Bud Dupree. I like that. Didn't keep people like Desmond King. I'm not too sure about it, the defense of that. But if any coach can galvanize a team, it's Mike Vrabel. And he's going to galvanize that defense once or twice to be able to get some wins defensively there. I've got the Colts at 11-6, or is it? Sorry, yes, 11-6 indeed. I remember when doing it that the Colts were having a really up and down year. Like it really fluctuated. Obviously, we're not really sure about Carson Wentz going into week 1. We're really not sure about Carson Wentz on the team. If it works with Frank Reich, it's fire. It's going to be absolute fire. I think their wide receiver core's really not great. That's my only worry about them. Their O-line's on the top in the league if they will stay healthy. Quentin Nelson is a bit questionable. Their running backs are fantastic. Their defense is so good. When I really enjoy the Colts defense. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's an up and down season for them. I think I've had it more if it clicks, them being better than them being worse. I've had it in favor really of the Colts rather than against them, and it's not going to work because I think it can do with Carson Wentz. I think he has still got stuff in the tank. I think there was just bad stuff in Philadelphia with him, to be honest with you. The Jags, I'm sad to say I've got them at 5-12 because if it wasn't the changing in coach and stuff like that, not that I'm saying the coaching unit of last year would be any better, but you got new franchise quarterback, you've got new coach, you've got a lot of new free agent signings in like Shaq Griffin, for example, at corner. Movement in like Joe Schobert's now away at the Steelers and stuff like that. I like a lot of what is going on with the Jags, and I like the direction they're going in. But I don't think this year is the year. Also, I know James Robinson was really good last year, but I thought the Travis Etienne tandem would be amazing. Now Etienne looks like he's going to be out for the year. So I think that draws away a little bit. I really like what they're doing. So I don't think 5-12 you shouldn't be upset with that. It should be right. Okay, well, now we've got the foundation. We've done our first year. Then we're going to go on to bigger and better things, hopefully for them. I've got Texans at 2-15. Maybe a bit generous. I just struggle. If Watson plays, it does change. But does he play? Doesn't he play? I feel like I went through it with him not playing. Outside of Brandon Cooks, there's no one I like on this team. I don't think there's no one I'm really invested in. Not even like the defense is bad. They've got nothing. Do they do what I said in the last video? Detroit get halfway through the season. They I don't think get any wins. They decide, right, we're going to go for number 1 quarterback we're going to get number 1 pick, get the quarterback we want for the future. With what's going on with Deshaun Watson, Houston could do the exact same thing. I really don't get why they're not in the Cam Newton conversation. I've been looking around social media. For me, that no one's saying they're in Cam Newton. I think that's really stupid of them because I would get Cam Newton in because you could run the exact same offensive playbook that you run with Deshaun Watson. A bit that I maybe am not. I am not an NFL coordinator, head coach, as we well know. But that would be the logical thing to me. I've seen him going to like Steelers and Saints and places like that. I'm like, doesn't it completely make sense to get Cam Newton for really cheap for a year, run the same playbook? I don't know. Maybe what they're doing is getting Tyrod Taylor in, have him start, tank, get that, not tank, but, just get what they can and then try and get the number 1 pick. But in fact, have they even got a first round pick this year? I feel like they have.
Yeah, I think they have this year, yeah.
Okay, so they finally got their first round pick.
Yeah.
They could get the number 2 pick, which would be, it would be a little bit of gratification for the fans after years of not having a first round pick. They can finally have one. I like nothing, and I think it's like the Jags thing last year. The Jets even screwed up getting Trevor Lawrence. I feel like the Texans we'll get to December, and it will be Sam Howell or Spencer Rattler. And it'll be like they are the next great thing. And even the Texans will mess it up because they've just been messing up time and time again. Apologies, Texans fans. I know a lot of Texans fans, very nice people, nothing against the organization, but even they would tell me that this is an absolute hurricane in Houston. It's just awful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in agreement with you when it comes to the Texans. I've also got them 2-15. I don't know what's going on there. I don't think Deshaun Watson plays. I don't think he wants to play. I don't think the league they might not even let him play. So I think if that's the case, then someone like Cam Newton would make sense. But then at the same time, you've already got Tyrod Taylor. So, if you're if you're tanking, what do you want to waste the money on Cam for in that respect? So yeah, there's not a lot there. I think I'm not sure who because I've got so many running backs. I'm not sure who stayed.
Philip Lindsay was the main guy they got. I felt
Philip
Mark
Lindsay there.
Ingram's
I think
there.
Mark Ingram's there as well. So there are a couple of running backs there. Brandon Cooks, like you say, is a decent wide receiver, but the rest of it's all a little bit not that great. Yeah, I can't really see them doing a lot, and I don't quite know. I think the problem that they're going to have throughout most of this season is that they're going to have this massive Deshaun Watson cloud over the whole season unless they get it sorted out. And I don't think they will, because there's not really any sort of deep desire for them to get it sorted out, because it's not like they're trying to win. So there's no real need for them. With the other ones, the Jags, I've got at 4-13, so I'm worse than you you on that one. I just think a little bit like the Bengals last year, first year with Joe Burrow, first year with Trevor Lawrence. I think he'll do better than what Joe Burrow did, even when Burrow was on the field. I just feel that they are going to need time. They're going to be, I think they're going to be quite an interesting team to watch, but I feel like they're going to need time to get through it. Brand new coach, brand new quarterback. You've got quite a lot of new players there as well.
Brand new coach who hasn't been in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. Sorry, Urban Meyer might be a college legend, but he's not an NFL legend. He's not an American football main league legend.
And you kind of feel like that. There was a reason this team was 1-15 last year. So the chances are, they'll probably improve on that, but they're not going to improve that much. With the other two, I kind of felt like, because last year they both finished on the same record, and I was kind of thinking that after I'd sort of like gone through it all, that it would probably end up the same. I've got the Titans to win it 10-7, and then the Colts 8-9. I actually don't think that this division's going to have much in it this year. But I do feel like the Titans, although they do have that poorer defense, I do think that just having players like Julio Jones there now, having AJ Brown, Tannehill has clearly shown that he's capable now that he's away from Adam Gase. And I think that with Derrick Henry there, you're always going to get that constant run game all the time. And I just feel like they're going to be just that little bit better than the Colts, but not necessarily. They're going to be one of them teams. They're going to get in the playoffs, and then I could see them lose in the wild card round. So they'll get there, but they're not really amazing. I'm not particularly sold on Carson Wentz with the Colts. I think it might work, it might not. It's going to be whether he can stay fit is going to be a big problem there. They do have a great defense. Their wide receiver core is pretty ropey. With T.Y. Hilton out, it looks like he's going to be out for most of the season now. And apart from Michael Pittman, there's not a lot there. And
Paris Campbell's been injured.
There's just not a great deal there. The tight ends as well. I think Mo Ali Cox will be decent this year, but really, I don't know. There's just not a lot, and you feel like is it going to be predominantly run game?
Which it should be, because Jonathan Taylor's
Jonathan Taylor and the O-line are great. So I think in that respect, you kind of feel like they will do okay through that, but I don't think that means that they're going to be winning loads of games because of it. Because I think people will work that out. Because although Jonathan Taylor looked great, he's no Derrick Henry sort of thing. Yeah. So it's that's where the problem's going to come. So I've got the Titans to win it, but I really don't think this is going to be a particularly great division this year, I'm afraid.
Interesting. Let's move on to the AFC East then, a division that's been dominated by the New England Patriots for so long, but as we saw from last year, is not their division anymore. Or is it going to be this year, Adam?
I think they'll definitely improve. They've got a lot of opt-outs coming back on that defense, which is going to be really good. Obviously, the main news is Cam Newton going and Mac Jones. From what I've seen of him, I've seen a bit of preseason, but not a lot. From what I've seen of him, he looks pretty good. And the one thing that everyone always sort of, when they were going through all the quarterbacks that were being taken in the draft, the one thing bonus that Mac Jones had was always, this is the guy who's NFL ready. The rest of them, maybe not so much, but this guy in that system in Alabama, he's the one who's ready. So I actually think he'll probably do okay. And also, I don't think he necessarily has to do anything amazing in order for them to win games, because the way that system works, it's worked. I mean, you look at Brady. Brady's, the way he played last year was completely different to how he played with the Patriots all that time. So I think that they will find the system to suit Mac Jones and it'll work for them. I don't think they'll win the division. I think the Bills are just far too strong, and they'll win the division. So I've got the Bills at 12-5. I've actually got the Patriots and the Dolphins at 10-7. I think that it'll be very close between the two of them. And the one thing with the Dolphins, who I just kind of feel like in the AFC at the moment, there are some really strong teams in there. And that the Dolphins are kind of like, they're a very young team. They're nearly there, but they're not quite there yet. And if it was me and I was the Dolphins general manager, I would be throwing out an offer to Houston for Deshaun Watson now. And because you can get him cheap, and because he's probably not going to play. And you could do that, and now would be the time to do it, and just let him sit out for the year because he's probably not going to play. And see what you've got with Tua. And because it's only a win-win if Tua does well, because we all know Watson's going to be great when he plays. So if Tua is good as well, you could trade him and get an absolute fortune for him as well. I mean, so I think that's something that they should be looking at, because I just don't feel that they're necessarily, that I feel like they're going to be a little bit like the Titans, where they get into the playoffs, but they're not going to make it all the way. And then lastly, the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be really fun to watch. I think Zach Wilson's going to be really fun to watch. But they've had a few injuries, haven't they, over the last couple of weeks? I think Carl Lawson's out for quite a while, which is a big loss for them on the defense. I've got them at 5-12, which, for a brand new quarterback in the league, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And I think they are, in the same way as Jacksonville, very much in a sort of like a rebuild at the moment.
I agree with a lot of things, and I disagree with a lot of things. You've actually swayed me with the Patriots stuff. So my record's bad for them. And I now listening to you, I'm like, no, you're wrong. I'm completely wrong. I've messed this up here. So I've got the Bills winning 13-4. I believe in it. I am so on the Bills train, even as a Steelers fan in the FC. I'm on the Bills train. I love it. I'd love the Bills to win the Super Bowl this year. I really, really like Josh Allen. I love what they do. I love the style of football they play. If Zach Moss can take a step up and be that 200 Devin Singletary, that is amazing. That'd be really great. Worry about their edge threat, but with the addition of Gregory Rousseau, hopefully AJ Epineza can step up. You still got Jerry Hughes. There can be a bit more there. I love everything about this team. And I really like their head coach as well. Sean McDermott, I believe his name is. So I've got them 34 winning away the division. I've got the Dolphins at 9-8 again, because I've bought in. I just like them. I really like Brian Flores. I really think he's bringing a really good culture. And that defense last year was like the 5th best defense in the NFL. And people, we forget about that. Their defense was really good with not many people. And if I can take the next step up again, that would be amazing. I believe in Tua more than the average man. I don't really get the nastiness to him really around NFL. Like, it feels like there is this thing of he's no good and everything like that, and people are still doing it. I think he plays pretty decent. I think that's all you can be pretty decent in the NFL and go very far.
I think I think the problem with Tua is that it kind of comes across almost like, because he had the injury and he was kind of still taken and he didn't really play, and then he
It's
sort of
the hype
he
thing.
yeah. So he was kind of like he was brought out as though he was going to be this amazing quarterback.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember that he missed the whole, or not the whole of that season, but he missed a chunk of the last season at college. He then missed the first half. I think didn't he come in like the 8th game or something last year? Um,
Sixth or
yeah.
seventh, because Fitzpatrick
So
was
so it's
doing
like
well.
he came in around that sort of time, and like you say, they were doing well with Fitzpatrick. They had a positive record at the time, and they kind of like go, right, there you go, it's all
Yeah.
yours. And you just sort of think, well, hang on a minute, he plays completely differently to how Fitzpatrick plays. He's much more
Right.
mobile with his legs, and I think that people saw him and just went, oh, this guy's not what we were all told he was going
Mm.
to be. I think everyone thought he was going to be Deshaun Watson. I think that was kind of what
Yeah.
everyone thought or Lamar Jackson. That's what
A
everyone
Russell
thought.
Wilson type of character that
Yeah,
got
exactly.
sloppy.
So I think that was the problem, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't work out straight away for him. Maybe he just needs a decent preseason where he can actually be trained up. And Flores is a great head coach. I mean, they
Mm.
will only do well under Flores. So I think that will work. My only issue with them is I just feel they're not quite there yet, but they've got the draft capital to actually go out and get that stud QB. Whereas for at the moment, they've got this sort of young QB that they don't really know 100% where he is. That's why I sort of think to myself, you can't just keep accumulating draft picks and hoping that it works. At one point, you kind of got to shove your chips in and go for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you kind of feel like the way that it all is at the moment and the type of quarterback that Flores obviously likes, Watson would make a lot of sense.
Hmm. It would make a lot of sense. I've got the Patriots at 6-10. I hate that. It's also not correct either. It's 16 games, so there should be one more there. I'm going to put them at 7-10 instead, because I actually, I do not believe that much in Mac Jones with it all. And I also think it is a bit of a ragtag bunch of people that they've got in for the offense.
It is.
But it would work in New England is the thing. And I think that was my thing was, and also, to be honest, I completely forgot about the guys they've got back in for the defense that they didn't have last year. And the defense it's still developing. There's some good guys there. But I don't know. I think I've been a bit harsh there personally, 7-10. I think it might be more like 9-8 or 8-9. I'm worried. If it was any other team, I'd say all these people getting together is just not going to work. But it's the Patriots; it probably is going to work. I just don't know. Mac Jones is a rookie as well. We just got to see what's going to happen with him. But I've been harsh there, I admit. The Jets, I've got at 3-14, which is harsh as well to some people. But outside of Zach Wilson and AVT, I mean, there's not that much that's happened really. You've not sorted it. You've not sorted the secondary issue. You've got huge holes in the secondary. And the one hole that you filled with Carl Lawson is now gone, unfortunately. You've still got no running game. Unless Michael Carter comes through. I really like to see I would love to see if Michael Carter is going to be the lead back and be really good. I'd like to see that. And wide receiver Denzel Mims. Who else they got? I can't even remember now off the top of my head. But I just don't see. And also, it's Rob Salah's first year as a head coach. You got to remember, he was a really great defensive coordinator at San Francisco. But look at the names he had on that San Francisco defense. They're incredible. They're going to be incredible under anyone. I want it to succeed, but I just think there's more to go here. And I hope they're patient. Like, I want to stick with Zach Wilson and Salah because I think it will look good. This is what I like. A lot of these teams, I think, may have like really poor records in the NFC and AFC, but there is a lot of teams where I really want them to go like, don't just then blow it up. Like, do stay patient because I do think they have got something there. It's just we're just going to have to see with it all. Let's move on to the AFC West, easiest division in football, maybe for the winner anyway. I'll finish off this one. So I've got the Chiefs at 15-2. Don't take away the Super Bowl thing. They are that good. They are incredible, and they did not get worse over the summer. They didn't lose anyone significant. They didn't admittedly gain anyone that significant. Only on the O-line, actually. They looked at their weakness, looked at that Super Bowl, and they traded for Orlando Brown, and they brought in the guy from England, the guard.
Tony? Joe Tony?
Joe Tooney, yes. They brought him in.
Sorry.
So they have improved on that O-line. They're just they are that good. I've got them at 15-2 easy. I am a bit bought in with the Chargers. If the Panthers were my NFC side of things team that I really liked that could get to the playoffs, the Chargers are on this side. I've done this before, and I've said it, and I've definitely said it at a Chargers game at Wembley to a Chargers fan of I think you could be a Super Bowl team, and they went, well, it's a good thing you're not a Chargers fan because we know that we're never going to be that. Now they've got Justin Herbert. They've got a really good defense. I think they're working it out there. I think they need to keep some guys on the field. Derwin James is the biggest one for me. Every time Derwin James plays, he elevates everything. He stays fit the whole year, elevates his team to a whole new high. I really, really am very excited by that team. The Broncos, I've got them at 6-11. It's one of them. I'd like them to be like a 9-win team, 10-win team. I'd like that. But I don't think it is under Teddy Bridgewater. I just don't think it's dynamic enough. Like I said in the NFC video, I like Teddy as a standing quarterback, as your guy. They need to go and get the guy at some point, whether it be Aaron Rodgers, maybe, or maybe go and get Deshaun Watson. I don't know. Their defense is aging, admittedly, but I like the guys on that side of the field. The Patrick Surtain pick's great. Great getting Fuller in, Ronald Darby, Bradley Chubb, Von Miller is just hazardous around them guys. I mean, they're so good. Their offense is actually amazing as well. If they can get Melvin Gordon and so all these rookies. God, Javonte Williams, if they get him going. Yeah, that'd be great. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick. It's a really good thing going. I just think the quarterback's the issue. So that's why I couldn't get them really any higher than 6 wins. Raiders, I've got them at 4-13, and I did this last year where I just didn't see them winning games or close games, but then they do in season. There's a lot about this team that I don't see really. Like their O-line's now completely gone. Henry Ruggs didn't. I don't think any of their wide receivers are that great. Darren Waller's a stud, don't get me wrong, but it runs for him. Josh Jacobs, he's a 1,000-yard rusher and a 8 touchdown a year guy, but you sort of go, oh, is he? It's not that exciting all the time. The defense outside of Max Crosby, I don't see much. I feel like they've really whiffed on the draft a few times with Clelin Ferrell. Jonathan Abrams is another one as well. They seem to get these patch guys in. I think they've got LaMarcus Joyner in over last year, or they've got him in this year. They just seem to get patch guys in. Don't think it's working. I like Derek Carr. Again, it's just nothing special for me. I hate to say 4-13 for them because I do think they are a bit more, I like to think they're a bit more capable, but I just don't. They don't do anything for me really to go like when I look at them games like Chicago, for example. I've said Chicago before, but they're just that's just the team I've got the go-to thing because in my mind, if Justin Fields starts, if that defense steps up, if them players play, they will win them 50-50 games. The Raiders want that team, but they don't have them names to then step up and get them over that needle. But yet in season, they still win these 50-50 games. And I don't really, they beat Chiefs last year out of nowhere. And it was like, wow, they really got something going. And then there was just nothing. And it just doesn't, they don't do anything for me. I know your feelings on Gruden. So I know you've probably not got a very good record for them either.
Well, I've got a better record than what you've got. So
I've been harsh, I admit, but that's their schedule.
I've put them at 5-12, so it's not that much better.
Okay.
But I agree. I mean, they're a team. You know, I've always said he likes shiny new toys. He keeps chopping and changing things. It doesn't work. You need to build a foundation and then work around that. And then some of the draft picks, they always go on about the character of these players, and you just sort of think to yourself, is that just code for that they're not that great players, but they've got good character, sort of thing. So yeah, I agree with Derek Carr. I think he's an okay quarterback, and I think teams like Chicago and Minnesota as well. I think they are teams that are, you do have to sort of like think to yourself, well, if they played them, how would that go? And like you say, Justin Fields starts playing, they start looking all right. Chances are they're not going to win that game. So I think the Raiders, I don't know, that they're just not really going anywhere. They seem to be stuck in neutral, and nothing's going to change. With the Broncos, I kind of agree as well. I've got them at 6-11 as well. I don't know. I just think that it is all about the quarterback there, and they desperately need to get that sorted as quickly as they can, and it's obviously not going to happen this year now. I think Bridgewater, to me, is, I kind of get the reason why they've decided to start him, but I feel like there's a limit to Bridgewater. Whereas with Locke, he does have games when he can put up some big numbers, and you just kind of felt like if you really wanted to go for it, you would have gone for Locke. And I just wonder if that's like
I think Locke has maybe some character issues from what I've gathered of some things.
So yeah, I do think, and one thing I did hear was that I think it's the first time that Bradley Chubb and Von Miller are going to be fit at the same time at the start of the season. So that is going to be big for them. But that's mental that it's taken this long. So I think they will struggle a little bit. Yeah, I really like the Chargers. I don't know what it is about the Chargers. I don't know if it's just they feel very underdog kind of thing. I don't know if that's why us over here in England like them.
They're really likable. I just think they're really likable. With Justin Herbert, I think
but even more so. I mean, before that, I felt they were quite likable. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's like when they had Rivers there, I felt they were quite likable, and just the whole team. And I do wonder if it's almost like they are a bit of an underdog, and especially now with the Rams in LA as well. So yeah, I think they'll do well this year. I think if they can keep them players fit, I think they'll do okay. I've got them at 9-8, so not quite as high. I think they will just miss out on the playoffs, but they had a lot of games last year that they lost, and they were like one-score games. If they just turn that around a little bit, then I think that will make a big difference for them. And I mean, obviously, the Chiefs are going to win it. I've got them at 15-2 as well. I can't. I just think they're the best team in the AFC at the moment. I just can't see it going any other way. I mean, the only team that's come close, really, in a game that was like really important was the Browns in the playoff game, where it kind of felt like the Browns were nearly at their level, but the Chiefs were just, it kind of felt like they always had them at arm's length. So it's like they were never really going to lose to them. But so maybe, improvement at the Browns, maybe. But I think that Chiefs O-line now, they've seen what the mistake was, and they've rectified it. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, will have a big season because of it.
So we've done our predictions for that. We're now going to go into our Super Bowl. I know you don't have all your stuff in front of you to do about the Super Bowl one. So from the sounds of it, we've got very similar things, if not a little bit off with some of it. So we'll run through our Super Bowl. We won't go into too much detail of the game. We'll just sort of quick fire it. So in our one, which I think it would be the exact same in both as maybe a bit different, but I've got the Chiefs and the Buccaneers both on a bye. So getting a first round bye. So the wild card would be Chargers going to the Browns. Who would you have there?
So I have got the Dolphins going to the Browns.
Okay. So who would you go there?
Browns.
You've got Chargers, Browns. I've got Chargers, Browns. I'd go Browns as well. Yeah. I've then got the Colts at the Bills.
So I have got the Patriots at the Bills, which I think would be the Bills.
I would go the Bills as well. And then I've got the Ravens at the Titans.
Yes. And I think that'd be the Ravens.
I think it'll be the Ravens as well. I think it'll be that double up, like Lamar going back there, winning another game, fly. Marcus Peters stamping on the tee. I want him to just go mental. He's horrible. I've got
I feel like there's 4 teams in this division that are just a cut above. There really is.
yeah, there definitely is. The Rams going to Washington.
Yeah, that's I think with that one I would probably go the Rams. I think the Rams this year are going to be very good. So I could see that.
I'm going to go the Rams as well because they won't have a running game, so they won't have to worry about that defensive line as much. I think. I've got the Panthers at the Seahawks. I don't know what you've got. I don't think you've got them in front of you, have you?
No, I haven't got.
We'll
I think the Panthers at the Seahawks. I think probably to me, I'm not 100% sold on the Seahawks to get to the playoffs this year. I think they're going to struggle a bit more this year. But if it was the two of them, I'd probably think the Seahawks. You just don't know how Sam Darnold's going to do.
I think it's 12th man factor as well.
Yeah,
like at home, loud, wild card. Yeah. It's like classic Seattle, isn't it? 49ers at the Packers. We've heard this one before. We're not in the wild card. You obviously go the Packers.
But... I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I would. I do worry for them this year. I feel like they've gone in deep this year, all in on Rodgers, and I really don't. I really am not confident. I'm not Ash. That's why we've got Ash. She's the confident one. I'm really not as confident. I feel like if the 49ers were full strength, I think it would have been them and the Bucks last year. And I can see exactly the same happening again this year. So I mean, I the only thing I would say is that I would go for us purely because it's at Lambeau in the snow, probably.
I've just got this thing that like these teams sometimes have your number.
Yeah. I agree.
Teams like that, and I feel like 49ers have your number a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Next we go on to if it loads, there we go. Onto the divisional. So now I've got the Browns at the Bills.
I would go to the
That's
Bills.
A really hard one. I think the Bills are home.
I'd probably go for the Bills just because they're at home.
Yeah. Ravens at the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
The Rams at the Seahawks. That's an interesting one. I'd have to go Rams there as well.
Yeah.
I think they just have a bit more. 49ers at the Buccaneers. That's a fun one.
49ers.
Oh, that's hard for me.
I'd probably go the Buccaneers just purely because I feel that what's going to end up costing the 49ers is that they will have replaced Jimmy G by then.
And it's the experience factor.
Yeah. So I think probably the Bucs will win that.
Okay, so that gives us a championship AFC game of Bills at the Chiefs, a repeat of last year. The Chiefs obviously are going to the Super Bowl. And then the Rams at the Buccaneers. And I think the Buccaneers as well. I think it might be a repeat. It's really boring, fans. So we get a Chiefs Buccaneers Super Bowl. However, I think the Chiefs then go and win it this year.
I would probably go for the Bucs again. Really? I really feel that like Brady being there, I think makes all the difference, and I think bringing in them players and bringing them all back, and you just kind of feel because the thing with last year is the excuse was always, well, they're going to need time to gel. That was always the excuse, and then they're going to go on and do well.
Yeah.
So I think everyone thought, okay, they might not get the greatest record, so they could potentially miss out, but they kind of snuck into the playoffs a little bit and then did well. I think this year it could be domination. I really do, because I just feel like he's there for a reason. You know, he's not there just for a laugh, and it's like they're gonna do really well. Maybe you could argue that the Chiefs will improve because of the O-line it won't be as bad as what it was. But you just kind of get that feeling with the way that. And the other thing, of course, with the Bucks is you also get that feeling that if there was someone got injured, someone major got injured, they'd just replace them. They'd just go out and get someone that would replace them. You get that feeling that they are all in under Brady, and it's not gonna change. And because of that, I think they're going to be incredibly difficult to beat.
They seem to be all on the Brady train and going one way, and that is the Super Bowl. Another Super Bowl win. This has been great fun doing the FC and the NFC predictions. I really appreciate it, Adam. Lots more content coming for you out there. We're going to have a lot of fun this season. Lots of things happening. Like we said in our last video, hopefully we're going to be all down at Tottenham, so catch us for a beer. We're going to try and do some stuff around the ground as well. We'll be all at the games, which will be lots of fun. Really looking forward to the games next week. I'm so pumped for it. I suppose these episodes might be going out this week. It might be days before the games start when this episode goes out. But we can't wait. We are really excited. Thank you for your support over the summer with the Future of the Franchise series. That is finishing up very soon, or has finished already. Again, we're all very up in the air here. Thank you again for the support. Thank you for your continued support. We'll be here throughout the whole season. Enjoy the NFL season. We will be back very soon. Have a good rest of your week. See you soon.